Anyway, Matthew 16:24 through 26 says, Then Jesus said to his disciples, If any of you wants to be my follower, you must give up your own way. Take up your cross and follow me. If you try to hang on to your life, you will lose it. But if you give up your life for my sake, you will save it. And what do you benefit if you gain the whole world but lose your own soul? Is anything worth more than your soul? And today I'm just grateful for wife, children, life, health, strength, my friends, um, grateful for everyone in my church, just grateful for every and everything, you know what I mean? Grateful for my staff at work, you know, I just woke up this morning with an overwhelming sense of gratitude as normal, as per norm. But I'm just I'm happy to be alive. My son is doing a little bit better. Everyone, thank you for the prayers. Still has an infection in his knee, so um he still requires a lot of prayers, everyone, and him yes, him being just like me, a little stubborn and hasn't been eating and stuff too much, but I've been trying my best to encourage him. But anyway, this particular verse in the Bible is a is a very popular one, and is popular amongst Christians and seculars. Like even people who proclaim or not try to say that they don't believe in God is end up using the same verse all the time. What is it for a man to gain the whole world and to lose his own soul? And let me tell you something. Um, there's two kinds of people who I've seen on my journey to success, you know, and it's crazy. I mean, it's because so you would see one half of persons, right, who forget God along their journey of becoming successful, right? And then you have this other class of persons who get closer to God as they become more successful, you know? And I can't say what is it really that is that defining moment, you know? But I can tell you one thing. When you come from I wouldn't even say when you come from, when you remember where you come from. Because one thing it is humans is forget. And sometimes I guess on that journey, a lot of times people tend to forget, right? But when you remind yourself consistently of the journey that God has taken you through, the blessing seems a lot better, you feel a lot more grateful. Like you appreciate things more. You seek to be closer to God because you remember where He's brought you from. You know, and I always say this, and I'm truly grateful, and that's why having a community is so important, because I can remember where I came from, and I don't ever forget that. I remember my life when we first started this room, for example. You know, I remember the prayers what people used to speak over my life right inside here. You know what I mean? I remember, worrying about, what my next decision would have been, what would have been, what would have happened, and back then, a few years ago with us right in here, I could have never imagined, what what God had in store for me. I never could have imagined it. But at the same time, I remember where we came from. I remember the struggle. I remember the journey, and for that, that's why like my level of being grateful is like so like I can't explain. Like I told y'all, like when I wake up, like I just have this overwhelming sense of gratitude. Like no matter what going on. You know what I mean? Rome could be burning down behind me, and I just have this overwhelming sense of gratitude because like I just see every day like so much blessings going on around me. and and I will continue to be forever grateful to God for it. I will continue, to give him the glory, the honor, and the praise, and through whatever it is that I go through, whatever levels of success or whatever failures, whatever it is that I go through, I can continue to give God the glory. Because like I say, I always remember, I remember the mud that he dragged me out of, you know what I mean? And I just trying my best to prepare a life that my children don't ever have to go through that. I heard this quote yesterday. It said, um, oh man, when it comes to me, I'll tell you, but it said that I plant the seeds so that my kids don't grow up in the mud. No, no, I plant seeds so my kids don't have to come up out of the mud so that they can blossom in the garden that Jesus has prepared for me. Or something similar to that. It was just a nice little quote that I heard yesterday, and it just, like I said, it made me think about it, and it made me think that, you know, while I'm just so grateful again for everything that God has done, I also know that He gave me an assignment. You know what I mean? He gave me the opportunity to do things for people, to help others, to give my children a better life, and to give my wife a better life. And that's just something that I am truly focused on, and I truly just continue to pray towards, and always be reminded of that along this journey. But anyway, I won't speak any longer again because I traveling this month, so I gotta get everyone up. So thank you everyone for the opportunity to speak. I'm Kerry. Enjoy your holiday and be safe, everyone. This is the Easter weekend in the Bahamas, well, globally, but it's a big holiday weekend, yeah, and a lot of crazy things happen. So I just continue to pray safety over each and every one of you. And I'm Kerry, and I pass the mic over to my sister Jenny.